These are my predictions for Zimbabwe 2030. This is going to be a video which I'm going to look back and say, well, maybe I was right on this thing and that thing and that thing, or perhaps maybe even not. So my first prediction is property prices. I think now people are realizing that Zimbabwe is a very safe and very beautiful country. This has been reflected by people that have visited our country, and in fact recently we know that Forbes has also named it the best destination for 2025. Now these are all positive indicators for the country. And for those that have just gone to Zimbabwe, visiting it and going back to their countries, they're now putting all this on social media. Whereas 7 years back or 5 years back, you would find that there was a lot of negativity about Zimbabwe because this message was carried by a few people. They tried to paint the Zimbabwe as a very, very bad country, a country full of potholes. Am I saying there are no potholes? No, there are. But they kept on pushing that narrative that nothing much is happening in Zimbabwe and it's a bad country. It's backward and it's all that. But now, because people are starting to travel and there's a lot of people on the internet that are sharing their adventures and the travels and so on and so forth, people are starting to realize that actually this is a very beautiful country. This is going to cause an influx of people to start coming to Zimbabwe, and I'm talking about diasporans. There's going to be a high demand of land and property, and this is going to cause the prices to go up. In fact, as we speak, my house, which I bought about 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago now, it's almost doubled in price, which is absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. It's almost double in price. So this is only going to get worse. And this does not only apply to Harare alone, and I think the outside areas as well. The prices are going to go up, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens 2030 in terms of properties. Next, let's talk about investments. Now, I can see a lot of investments going into Zimbabwe. I know there are at the moment, but it's going to increase because people are going to realize that you're better off making money in Zimbabwe because it stretches far. The cost of living is much better and you have a chance of starting any type of business. Now, if you're in the UK, for example, I'm here in the UK, it is very difficult to set up a brick and mortar. It's almost impossible because everything has been done. So whatever you're going to bring, the best you can do is perhaps setting up a shop to sell to Zimbabweans. And we all know that Zimbabweans, generally speaking here, they're not very wealthy. They're not going to come to your shop and purchase things, every other day or every day. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be twice in every month, and it's not going to be a very sustainable business. So it's very, very difficult to set up a business here because there are a lot of companies that are well established, and there are also institutions that can fund all these other businesses. So that is why it's very, very difficult now to go into a brick and mortar, especially if you're targeting customers of other ethnicities, because they have their own structures already. The only business that seems to make sense, which I'm involved in, is something that's online because you have an open market. You're not bound by geography. So people have a massive chance to invest back home because a lot of things have not been done before. You can innovate, take all the ideas from the West and bring them into Zimbabwe, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's in mining, whether it's in mechanics, you name it, even in the medicine industry. That's where a lot of these innovations are going to happen. So when it comes to investments, a lot of investments are going to go back to Zimbabwe from the diasporans as well in areas of tourism, mining, farming, real estate, and so on. Because a lot of people have learned so much from being in the West, how things are done, the companies, the structures, and so on and so forth. And this is going to be one thing that is going to be big in Zimbabwe. Now, if you look at what we've done as well, is we've got Kumusha Investors. This is a vehicle which is going to allow people to invest back home. And I can see this going as a trend as well, where a lot of diasporans are going to team up together and invest back home, just similar to what we are trying to do. So the reason why that would happen is because trying to invest back home as an individual it's almost impossible. Yes, there are a few diasporans, Zimbabwean diasporans, whatever, who are on high income, or they can borrow more and start a solo project back home in Zimbabwe by themselves. Yes, they are, and they do that. But where it's going to make a massive difference is when the diasporans come together, put their money together, and invest in something big back home. I mean, I think it's 2 weeks ago I saw these two sisters that created or started a hospital in Zimbabwe with an ambulance. Fantastic. Now imagine if it was 20 of them setting up something in Zimbabwe around, building a hospital. That will be massive. So that is how I see things happening in the near future. And also business in Zimbabwe, that's also going to grow, because I can see a lot of the younger generation taking what they experience in the UK and also being provided that experience in Zimbabwe. Again, this is going to change how businesses work, because they're going to be catering for people that are coming, for holidays, or coming in for even just visiting, and give them those services that are pretty much similar to what they get when they are in the diaspora. So I can see that business side of things also growing. Diasporans forming organizations. Yes, I can see again diasporans forming organizations that will pretty much put the bridge between the UK and pretty much Zimbabwe, or whatever country, whether it's the United States or Australia and so on. I can see that happening as well. Technology, again, I can see a lot of technology happening, by 2030 in Zimbabwe, to a point where I think I saw self-driving cars. I can't remember, but it's a massive company, a taxi company in Zimbabwe. It's called Tap and Go, I think. I mean, those are the type of things now we're going to start to see in Zimbabwe. So that's really exciting, because you see, when we look at the UK and America, these are not really necessarily manufacturing companies. Majority of manufacturing comes from China, and Zimbabweans now have a direct link to China. We can go there, buy all the equipment we need, set it up, or back home, and that is going to be huge. That direct link to China is massive. Whether you're buying farming equipment, manufacturing equipment, and so on, this is where a lot of people are going to make a lot of money. So technology is going to improve, and it's mainly because of this channel that has been opened between Zimbabwe, East, and also Russia, which is fantastic. Well, the other thing as well is 2030, I think, or even 2030 and beyond, the current ruling government is going to continue ruling, even beyond 2030. That's how I predict it, because I don't see any other political party that can rival the current political party. I don't see that happening. There'll have to be a miracle, and there also has to be a massive investment in campaigns, to really change the people's minds, because right now I think it's all about survival, and people just want to survive and get back on the ground. If it means retiring, people just want to retire, go to their village, or if they want to live in the city, they just want to do that, without any headache. People are just sick and tired of this politics thing. And to be fair, if you're on the ground, what you hear on the Twitter and what you see when you're on the ground is a totally different world. And sometimes we live in a bubble where we think, oh, this is going to change, that is going to change, because of what you're seeing on Twitter every day. It's like an echo chamber. But when you're on the ground, you don't see those things. I mean, like, I was there, 2 years. All that politics you see on the internet and what is happening on the ground, totally different. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's livable. Okay? It's not as bad as you hear it on the internet. So that's how I see it. And also, those people that depend on the politics to change before they make a move, I think those people are going to regret a lot, because look at the UK. When things are changing, what can you do about it? Absolutely nothing. I'm sure those of us that came to the UK, or whether it's America or whatever it is, it was, you felt welcome. You felt welcome. You felt like you're a part of the community. You felt like you're a part of the country. You get a passport and you say, yes, I'm British, And it feels good, because the message is integration. The message is, community and all of that. But that can just change just like that. Just now you can see what is happening to the migrants. The rules are changing, and the narrative is changing. Now we have the far right. Now the question is, can you do something about it? Absolutely not. Well, 5 years ago, you're probably saying, no, I'm going to live in the United Kingdom. I'm going to retire here and everything's going to be all good. Well, yes, you can say that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the power to change anything, because when the whatever, party is there and they decide they want things to work a certain way, there's nothing you can do about it. So trying to think that you are going to take a move or make a move when the current government in Zimbabwe has gone because you don't like it for whatever reason, that's not a plan. That's not a plan, because those are the sort of things that you can't change individually. So you just have to roll with the punches and go with the flow and start working on your own plan within the things that you can change by yourself. There is no way you're going to get a perfect world or a perfect scenario. You just have to start working on yourself and start investing and start moving towards your family, and pretty much that's it. So those that are going to stick to we'll make a move when things change, or they're on the narrative that Zimbabwe is bad and so on, they're going to lose out. That's my prediction. And the other thing as well is when it comes to the country as a whole, I see the country really improving, both infrastructure. In fact, there is a lot of infrastructure. I mean, the buildings in Zimbabwe is shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Sometimes, you ask yourself, like, how is it even possible, to move so fast? A country that is not trading very well and so on. Of course, now having asked a few questions and having spoken to a few people, it's very clear that what's building Zimbabwe right now is the gold and the farming for the most part. I used to think it was the diaspora remittances that are building a lot of the infrastructures in Zimbabwe. Well, that's not the case, because in my opinion, and again, it's my opinion, it's the diaspora remittances. They are just funding lifestyles and paying school fees. And that's about it. Yes, there are a few people that are building from there as well, and building their homes or their holiday homes and retirement homes and so on and so forth. But for the most part, it's just monies that are there to just sustain families back home. But when it comes to the infrastructure that we are seeing, the houses and so on and so forth, I think a lot of people are making money through mining, and it's quite clear. It's quite clear. So those who are going to win are people that are going to be dabbling between both sides, or you're going to be part of the diaspora communities that are investing back home, similar to Kumusha Investments. Of course, done well, this can be a huge difference. And by the way, go to kumushainvestors.com if you want to be a part of this. Anyway, those are my predictions for 2030. I see a lot of positivity in Zimbabwe, and it's going to be a very expensive country to live in. By the time you decide you want to go to Zimbabwe, it will be almost too late, because Zimbabwe works with trends, and once everyone starts pushing into Zim, what happens? It creates a demand, and then that demand is going to push the prices up, and it's going to be close to impossible to even buy a house or land in Zimbabwe. Those are my predictions. What do you guys think? What are your predictions? Please let me know in the comments box below. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.